What is up, YouTube and all my fish keeping friends? How is everybody doing out there in fish tank land? I'm doing some crazy stuff today. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday morning. Most of you still working on coffee. I can't hear my own audio today, so this is going to be fun. I've got another audio going on. I have a guest here today, Brian Covey. I believe I'm pronouncing his name properly. So he's going to be here with me today. I'm just waiting for a couple of you guys to get in here. It's awesome to see. Tampa Tom obviously was in here first in the chat, like always. I have Daryl Deemer, Sharpies Models and Aquatics, Tiffany White, welcome to the stream. Shishi's Bubble Nest. It's awesome to see you guys in here. Pamela, 54 Punchy. Welcome to see. Wait, it's good to see you here as well. The Cove, what's up? So let me see if I get down to the bottom of the chat. A little late. Try to kick this music a little bit. So we are going to talk about charcoal and the differences between different kinds of charcoal, active carbon in your filters, different, in your filtration. Science Gal Aquatics, good to see you here. So I don't want to leave my friend lingering too long on the other side here, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into this pretty much. Let me go ahead and see if I can handle OBS properly and switch this over. If there's anything going on with the audio, with his audio or my audio, just let me know. Let's see. Yes, you are here with me. I'm sorry. I'm my first day with OBS, Streamlabs OBS. That's what it feels like. What's up, Brian? It's good to have you here, man. It was yeah, it's nice to have to have a microscope to play with. You said that you just got a microscope yourself. You just bought one, ordered one, right? Is what you said? Yeah, it was really awesome to meet you at Aquachar in Dallas. That was really cool. I could tell you were really passionate about the product, and it gave me a chance to really think about it. And then you gave me a bag of it, which I brought home, and I've been analyzing it, breaking it down. I've put it on the microscope a few times and sifted through it, and I'm very skeptical about a lot of things, so I had to take the time to kind of like test it out. I do have it in some HOB filters on a couple of my aquariums, and I've been thinking about using it in kind of a reusable 10-inch cartridge filter where I can actually maybe use it as a pre-filter or something to just polish the water afterwards or something like that as well. So I'm interested to learn more about this product. So what really got you? What's your history in the fish keeping hobby? What got you into the charcoal business? Uh-oh. Wait a second. 1 second. Let me try something. For some reason, they're not hearing you, so I don't want to waste the time. Let me try to get it. I just got to go through here and mess with it, and we'll get it real quick, just like I did before. I don't know why it kind of like defaulted back, right? So I'm just waiting. Oh, go ahead and speak now.
You hear me now?
Yeah, they should hear you now. Everybody can hear him now. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. So anyways, I've been in the hobby for about 13 years. Started when a old roommate of mine left me 2 tanks. Had no idea what I was doing. It took me 6 months to learn what a water change was. But right. From there, I discovered plants. I've been doing plants for over 10 years now, growing plants, doing aquascaping and stuff. I've entered last year into the IAPLC. But yeah, I've just always appreciated it. I've done saltwater tanks, freshwater tanks. I actually set up this tank for just testing Aquachar. So
yeah, testing out on saltwater, which is seems like a lot of people in the saltwater hobby, they really use carbon a lot still. It's pretty popular.
Yes, they do.
So I don't play with salt water too much just because I'm here in the Caribbean, and anything like that would just, if power went out, I would lose everything. So I stay away from salt water right now unless I had like a generator or something like that. But I'd love to get into that.
You
That's a
can go
beautiful
for a
looking
swim
tank
if
right
you
there.
wanted to see anything.
Right. So we're gonna take a look at some pictures of stuff here in a minute. But in that, yeah, I want to ask questions about that tank behind you. You were saying what's in the what are you doing for filtration in that saltwater tank behind you?
All right, so I had a 55 gallon a couple years ago. Ended up going back to plants and everything like that. Well, I mean, I did both, but you know how that goes. So once I started selling Aquachar and everything, and going to the shows, actually Aquashella was our launch show, so that's one of our premiere of our products. So we're a relatively new product. That's probably why you're hearing about it more often now, because people are actually starting to use it. But anyways, for this tank, I wanted to kind of mimic a new hobbyist, mistakes, everything like that, and see how Aquachar helped stabilize it. So, you know, I did the stuff of, you know, waiting like 2 weeks, stat fish and coral, do all that type of stuff just to see the stability that it would offer, what the difference was, and everything like that. And as you can see, you know, everything's doing good. I mean, I don't have anything hardy or expensive or anything like that, but that was kind of my goal was, you know, from a beginner standpoint, if I'm going to sell the product, I wanted to see what it does. But the cool thing with this tank is the only filtration I have on it is a hang on back AquaClear 25 with Aquachar filled up into it. So
Nice.
yeah, I wanted to test the product because I believe in it and I sell it. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, it works the way I say it works.
Right. I feel like I really wanted to have you on because I feel like this is a different product. It's not your traditional active carbon.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the reason why I'm bringing it up. I think a lot of people are very opinionated when it comes to using carbon and active carbon in their aquariums, and there's a lot of heated discussions in regards to it. So that's another reason why I wanted to have you on here today, as well as just I don't know. I want to take the opportunity to show people that just honestly on a microscopic level, the fact that this is different and it can be utilized in a different way than people use active carbon. I see myself using it, like I said, as a polisher for like making large volumes of water in a larger cartridge filter, or
Yes.
like maybe in planted aquariums in a long-term use. So let me go ahead and show some pictures real quick, and maybe I'll give you a chance to give a little bit, just kind of explain the process of what you guys go through to create this and how it's different from traditional active carbon. So let me see if I can get, for one, that should be up, my view count, which I'm 22 people hanging out. Okay. So let's see the slideshow, and I think you should be able to see it, right? You see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it looks crazy for you. You're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff right now. All right, so I'm gonna transition this over. So this is like the raw product, right?
Okay, so this is actually what we do is the first one's granulated activated carbon. That's what most people are using in their aquariums right now. The next one, it's called Biochar. It's used in agriculture a lot as a soil additive to kind of replenish the soil. It absorbs moisture and nutrients and stuff like that, and kind of keeps it localized. It's a new trend in agriculture and growing. And then the next three are actually three separate generations of us. We tested Aquachar for almost a year and a half, refining the process to make sure that it was, you know, if we're going to sell it for people's aquarium, you know, most people have more in their aquariums than they do on some of these designer dogs. So we wanted to make sure that it was safe, non-toxic, and it did what we said it did. It's definitely different and better.
All right. So let me see what's going. It's all acting up on me now because it doesn't seem like it's showing you now all of a sudden on the screen. I'm having fun with this. This is how you learn how to do.
I'm fine talking about Aquachar and just going through the pictures because I love talking about the product because it really is different.
Exactly. And I'm going to show some of that on the microscope here in regards to just how, like, when it's not crushed down and turned into like a pellet, there's a lot more surface area. You've got that porosity. You've got all kinds of places for microorganisms to live and stuff, right? It's just
Exactly.
To me, my idea is rinsing it really nice and keeping it long term in an aquarium.
And that's actually the goal that we have with the product. So First of all, I'll explain to you, like the activated carbon that we're using today, most of it is basically a petroleum byproduct. It's coal waste that they'll heat up at a low temperature, then they'll dip it in hydrochloric acid. They'll grind it down.
Oh, I lost him for a second. That's what I get. I'm trying to run three different things. Are you there? Yeah, you're back. It's me trying to run three different two computers, three different webcams, and then transmit that all out, upload that all back out to YouTube to everybody else while I'm.
You're doing a great job. So.
But you're back on the screen now, anyways. I got rid of the slideshow. I don't know what something about the slideshow made you go away out of your little box over here.
I'll finish about the history of the product. So
yes.
Basically what we did was the inventor of the product, he was living in Africa for 2 years and he saw the water crisis firsthand and he wanted to figure out a way to purify water without a machine. So he tried to figure out a way to do something like an activated carbon in the field, that type of thing. But just the cost of the plants and everything like that, it's astronomical. Then he went to Biochar to look at that to see if that would work. And what that does is it kind of leaves, there's a limitation of temperature. So it kind of leaves like a pre-smoked toxic resin, which is fine for agriculture. But as far as you putting in a tank with sensitive fish and everything like that, that leaches that toxic resin that's left on the outside of it. So right. What he did was he decided that because there's a temperature threshold with carbon before it turns to ash, and that's the reason they do all the post-production processing, what he decided was he tried to find a way to break that ash threshold. So he found a all-natural, sustainable way while living in Africa to bring wood up to several thousand degrees higher than that ash point while keeping the structure of it. So basically, at that temperature, the tree is keeping its porosity and structure that it uses to bring water. And as the carbon makes its bonds, it pushes out impurities and uses it as a fuel to make it even hotter and hotter. For the final product, it's basically the lightweight carbon skeleton of the tree. So that's usually people's first impression is they'll hold a bag of it and it feels like you're lifting up air.
Yeah, and it's almost like looking at fossils when you look at it under a magnifying glass or a microscope or something. The level of surface area, you can't even compare that really. That's like we're gonna look at it under the microscope and compare your product to like a traditional active carbon pellet. And I mean, we know already. I mean, it's like I didn't even want to do it because it's difficult because you can't even compare when you've got a product that is more like not vermiculite. What am I thinking? Just it's just more of a volcanic.
Honestly, that's what we created is we knew that nature's perfected itself over millions of years. So keeping that porosity of the tree intact, it gives you that benefit of being able to store so much extra. Sometimes we tell people that it lasts for months on end, and they're a little skeptical until they actually use it and they say, okay, it actually does have enough surface area to store.
Yeah, I'd be looking at it differently. I would be using it as more like I do in my HOBs as more of a just a biological media. Like I would, like I would put like bio rings or something like that. But once again, I mean, I could pull out a bio ring and we could look at it and still.
Think of it as a substitute for bio rings or bio balls and everything like that. Because once it's absorbed those organics, it basically creates a smorgasbord for the bacteria to live on top of it. So yeah. The Aquachar is actually negatively charged, and all those free-floating organics in your system are positively charged. So when you add the Aquachar for the first time, it actually magnetically sucks in those organics for the bacteria to come and find and eat.
Yeah, I definitely saw some cool stuff last night. So we will get to that. So I definitely plan on. I want to look at. So I took like some of the dust from the bag, and I treated it kind of like I was washing for gold or something because I've done my shit. For, as a hobby, my share of gold mining, panning for fun, so I kind of like panned it out a little bit in a little dish, and because because you were talking about some kind of crystals, maybe diamonds that that are in it, and you can definitely see that there is some things like that in the charcoal. So I wanted to see that stuff. Obviously, I was really excited, and I wanted to see that stuff up close. So I knew better to just kind of rinse it to get to the heavy material. I wanted to see what all the heavy material would be in it. And so I definitely have a sample of that, and I want to look at that first, and then I wanted to look at check out a cross section because you guys are using what kind of wood materials are you working with to start with?
So actually, what's interesting is we originally started off just using hardwoods because we assumed with pines and stuff like that with the saps that would become an issue. But what's interesting is what makes Aquachar what it is the base carbon product doesn't make a difference as much as it does the process in the kiln that we're using to make it. So this machine, it's just, he spent 2 years in Africa coming up with this product and then moved back to the States. We tested it in an aquarium shop for a year before we even thought about bringing it to market.
Nice. We're gonna geek out here eventually. Here, I'm gonna get on the. I'm afraid that the time's gonna melt away once I start playing with the microscope a little bit.
Well, I can talk about that while we're playing the microscope, because
right, and then
I'm excited for it. So
yeah, and then last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull a piece. I don't even want to mess with it right now, but I'm gonna pull a piece out of a hang on the back filter behind me and get it fresh. I don't want to I wouldn't pull it out ahead of time. I want to catch as many living microorganisms on it as possible, right, just as fresh as possible. So it's going to go right from that tank.
I'm excited for that part because, like I said, it acts like everybody wants to be lazy. And when you have something that's sucking in organics for them to eat off of, the bacteria love the surface of Aquachar.
Oh yeah. And there's places to hide. There's places to go and hide. As we'll be able to see under the microscope here. So
silly.
I should probably not waste too much more time. The goal here, the biggest problem for me is me breaking my golden rule of no liquids on this desk. I got too much going on, but I still have my coffee here, so it's probably the only time that I do it. So the goal is don't spill the coffee. Don't spill the coffee in this whole process. But yeah, I don't know how this microphone's gonna sound with me, but I'm gonna get on this real quick. My goal here first was to check out what I had sifted down and the little pieces of it seemed like there was calcium deposits that were forming, like these calcium deposits and some kind of little crystals, that's for sure. It was really cool because looking at them last night, I'm picking out ones that I think were cooler than others. These are microscopic little things that I'm ooh, that's a really cool little crystal. I want to keep that one. And I wait a minute, this is really how am I gonna keep this? It's in a bowl right now, but
we do the same thing. We get excited. We'll sit there and just look at a single piece and just be fascinated by it because it's just it's such a cool product to see. It's different. It's not an activated carbon. It does a lot more than that.
Right. Well, I'm trying to see what I can get on here without making a big mess. Anyways, it's not my first rodeo yet, though. I've done this a few times, but
I understand.
I'm using a dish that's a slide that actually has an indentation in it. So there's a little space for stuff to go.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool. It's not just a flat slide. So this is another thing we're going to try out. Let's see how this works. I'm going to probably be able to switch over to the what we're seeing it with the microscope. Bam. But we don't see you. Why don't we get to see you? This is where it gets mixed. So you're not showing up there right now.
Microscope. You can just go ahead and if you can hear me, that's fine.
Well, you can see somewhat of what's going on here, right?
Yes, I can.
I need to focus it up a little bit, though. Oh, my microphone is so far away. But you can even see that right there in the center. If I lower the light a little bit, there's a little crystal right there in the middle. All these white pieces around it are like the quartz, or not quartz, but seems some kind of calcium, like some kind of
Yeah.
like calcite or something like that. But if I lower the light on this, you might be able to. Let me see if I can get even closer though. Yeah. Maybe. There we go. Those little crystals. These are small ones actually compared to some stuff that I've seen. I sent you pictures, but you see those little white pieces there. Those are crystals. But you know, I remember you saying that they were diamonds, or that you thought they were diamonds, and they do remind me a lot. You know, they look very similar to diamonds. Now I'd have to get even closer. I'd have to like pick them all out and literally put glass on top of this so that I could get really close with another lens.
And that's what it's telling us is we're not sure. We know it sparkles, and we know we're working with carbon at a very high temperature, and there's some internal pressures with what we're doing that we're not sure if it's just a folding of the carbons, making a connection like a chain reaction, or if it's a quartz type of situation, which you know, even then it's not necessarily a foreign object to your system.
Like, look at those. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and see, and those are the ones that are a lot more crystal clear, and that if you put it underneath a super bright light, you can actually see it. You know, we always at shows put it underneath the aquarium light, so you can see kind of the glistening of those microparticles on the outside of it.
Right. Now, people need to keep in mind, this is where I've actually sifted and washed the charcoal to get to any of the heavy things, because I was trying to get to gemstones, trying to get to the heavy stuff. So this is not like an example of the charcoal itself, to be completely. That's a lighter material, and I washed it off the top. So just so that I wanted to get as many of these crystals so we have a good view of them. But
yeah, no,
they're pretty cool.
That's fun.
It's hard to throw it after you look at it under the microscope. Just geeking out on it, it's hard to like throw this away.
Yeah, it is, and like I said, that's part of the thing that we want to figure out what exactly those are, because all those questions are kind of fun to answer.
Now, I'll be honest, this looking kind of more of a square structure. What I see under the microscope myself is better than a 5 megapixel camera that I'm working with, that everybody else is seeing. But I do see kind of more of a square structure, and I don't know if that's quartz or not. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know exactly what it is. But
it could be a combination of the two, to be honest with you. You just
oh yeah,
at those temperatures, I'm curious. Like, and that's one of the things that's interesting, is because there's never been a product to bring the carbon up to the temperatures that we're bringing them up to. So we're learning a little bit of what's happening on a microscopic level, you know, at the center of the Earth.
Right. There's another. That's a much bigger one right there. That's a pretty big one, but that's yeah. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. I sat last night and kind of had some fun. See, this is interesting how these calcium deposits are forming. Even this one, how it's like, see how it's all cracked, like it basically like I think it's the calcium in the wood. You're just doing it. It has nowhere else to go, and it just concentrates, just like if you were forging through. If you took like a handful of dirt or whatever, and you were to heat it up and melt it, the different minerals are gonna kind of all stick together and create little chunks of that mineral.
And I think that's kind of what some of these byproducts are, is just a byproduct of it being, because like I said, as the carbon structures, that carbon bond is so strong, especially at that temperature where you're forming graphene, that once you're at that temperature, it's pushing out any of those impurities, the calcium, anything like that. And it's kind of interesting to see that them can kind of come together at that temperature and find each other, you know?
Yeah, it is really cool. It's crazy. It's fun having a microscope because you can sit there and get lost in some stuff here. So this is interesting too, because this is even a little bit finer stuff, but this is like my last little chunk of it. See, now that looks more of a diamond shape. that kind of that square structure, that more of a not square but rectangle, or was it trapezoid? I don't know what it would be, but anyways.
See those clear ones? There's like 3 little clear ones up towards the top. That's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just as how translucent they are compared to like a quartz.
Yeah, and then to be completely honest, unless this is, to be completely skeptical, unless this is just dirt, like on the wood,
Yeah.
these are being created within the process of heating up that wood and those organics to such a high temperature so quickly.
Correct.
Yeah.
And leaving them there. So
right, not crushing them up and making them
internal pressure. So that's why we're not getting a huge diamond coming out of the process. But sometimes it's on the micro level. You see some interesting things going on.
Very cool. All right, I love doing this stuff. I tell you what, it's fun stuff.
And this is just to say that you can polish your water with diamonds or quartz, but.
Yeah, it's almost like well, and I kind of, after seeing the structure on a microscopic level here, especially with the carbon itself, it kind of it does remind me of using like diatomaceous earth in a filtration system, because there's so much surface area there that things are going to stick to. So there is going to have that filtration, and then the last thing we're going to see here at the end here will be the, just to show how cool it is. It's just like, the way the structure is all still there, each individual little piece is almost in each individual little hole is like a little home for if a little organism wants to like go in there, it's like his own little cell, to hang out in. It is all kinds of little places.
It's like adding a mini like New York City high rise in your aquarium's filtration system for bacteria.
Right. So just for the fun of it, to be nice to everybody, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, no, I'm gonna put. I don't know. I might even be able to put them right next to each other on the same side of a slide. I'm gonna put which isn't even a good comparable product. What would be the right comparable product, I think, to this would be more of a active carbon granules that are like little microscopic volcanic rocks. So that's what that would look like. It's going to look more like the volcanic rock that you would put in your barbecue, grill or something, but on a microscopic level. So there is a bunch of little microscopic holes in that, but to me, this is just, there's so much more surface area in this, and naturally too. Because what were you saying in regards to the like an active carbon, those little granules like that, what's the process that goes behind making those, not the pellets, the compressed pellets, but the granules? What goes into that?
The granules. So the granules are basically, what they do is they size those down. It's the same process with, they'll use coal waste and then put it in hydrochloric acid to get the porosity in there artificially. But what they do with that is they rinse it off, and that's kind of those are the ones that most people say they get good use out of it for about the first 10 to 14 days before they have to see a noticeable drop in use. And that's because it's just and all that's done. Any activated carbon has this post-production processing because of the temperature limitations of the carbon turning to ash. So for us, because we got past that temperature limitations, we're able to structure those woods and keep those natural holes and porosity of a tree. So once we bring it up to the temperature we bring it up to, and the product's done, and we quench it, that's the final product. So we do no post-production processing and everything like that. So we use wood and heat in order to be able to make our product.
So if you could see this, we're looking at, right now we're looking first at the pellet. And if I don't breathe on everything and move it around, talk quietly without breathing like I'm hunting, because there's nothing, this is just sitting on a slide. So this is the pellet, and I mean, I get how it's going to soak things up a little bit, but it has, in regards to having the surface area and places for beneficial bacteria in a long-term kind of situation, the pellet is kind of like isn't an option even to me, really. I mean, because there's no place for anything to go.
Well, and that's part of the problem is because there's a balance in making activated carbon where you can't leave it in the hydrochloric acid for too long, or it ends up messing up with your whole pH of the system. Because the way carbon works is it kind of wants to be friendly with anything that's around it. They don't want to hold it on to for too long, but they'll hold it on to it for a while and whatnot, just at a microscopic quantum level. So what you're seeing, in there, they can't put it in the hydrochloric acid for too long or it'll ruin the whole product. They have to find the right balance to get some porosity out of their product without having to crush it up and grind it into a powder.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. To me, it's just two different, completely different things. And well, I'm gonna keep testing this out too. With right. I'm gonna keep testing stuff out. Let me move this over. I'm going to show you guys now we're going to look at the cross section of like a little twig, because you guys are getting lots of different organics. You guys are working with literally like sticks and twigs, so it is very natural and very much a quote unquote organic product. Let me
yeah, I mean, we keep the structure of the tree intact, so that's what makes us a little different, is because a tree brings up 15 times the water from its roots that it brings in just for the CO2 exchange. So what we're able to do is we're able to keep all of those micro veins and holes and everything like that intact to be able to see the porosity on all levels,
So you can see that better probably now because I moved it to another screen. I'm getting crazy. I'm messing with things. I shouldn't touch things. But that's freaking cool, isn't it?
I love this. This is my favorite part about it, because I mean, as you can see, you've got small pores, large pores. Get little bacteria, big bacteria, everything like that.
Well, to me, this reminds me. I'll be complete. It's crazy. I don't want to go off topic, but I'm a baker. Yeah. And I've, by trade, I've worked in the Italian food industry and a lot of different kind of Italian breads and sourdoughs, and making just literally leaving dough out. Anyways.
Yeah.
We call it spider web in the pizza world, but if you look at this, there's more surface area than there is matter. Right, like the actual exactly. what exists as matter in regards to, it's just like a totally different product. There's more places for organisms and for stuff to be collected, whether it be mold and particles in the water column or living things.
Well, and it's a combination of both, because you'll have bacteria that come along and some mold will get caught on it and it'll start breaking it down, and then all of a sudden that hole's open up, and so it's almost like it gives it itself enough surface area to become a self-cleaning process and still be able to absorb more into its system. And you can see why we are able to say, you're not going to get 2 weeks of use out of this product, because it's got the surface area and the ability to become a living structure in your sump system, breaking down almost like a septic tank.
Right. I'm trying to figure out how to get a little bit better light on this. Oh, that's actually better if I turn off the microscope light itself, because that was bleeding in.
Cool. Yeah.
I was getting the dark field light from the sides. This isn't super, super bright. Where was my phone? I was supposed to keep that real close. I'm going to hit it on my phone. But the cool thing about this, now we're going down, where am I at? I'm going from 4 times to 10 times here. And so what I wanted people to see is, okay, if at the first you were looking there and you see those little bubbles, those little holes, right? And then I'm trying to get a light up on my phone real quick. Flashlight, so we get a little bit more light on it, maybe. Anyways, let's see if I can get in here. But if you look really closely, the walls that are making up those so-called like bubbles or cells have a bunch of little bubbles in those walls. You know what I mean? Like even, it's hard to show it right now. I see it much better when I'm looking through the microscope, the actual optics here. But all of the little individual walls of those cells have like thousands of little billion, like little tiny bubbles that are making up the. Oh, there you can see it kind of better.
Oh wow, I like that. That's awesome.
So I mean, when you think about the surface area, there's so much more than the eye can, that you're gonna see with the naked eye. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's almost like a fractal with what we're able to keep together, because you've got large holes, smaller holes, smaller holes, smaller holes, and it goes all throughout to where they can kind of, uh, take in any of the organics that's created by your system. It's fun.
It is, yeah. Well, and I'm definitely gonna keep playing around with this, like in regards to just testing it out in some of these other tanks. But I just think it's cool. I could sit here and
me too. Me too. I think it's interesting to see something that's so natural become part of a filtration system and actually work for a long period of time too.
Right. That's how I would utilize this if I'm gonna use it. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't. Most of the people that watch my content, they know that I really like black water aquariums and tannins and stuff. So I wouldn't want like some kind of active carbon in the end to really be taking everything out. But I would want this amount of surface area as in the filtration. So I know in the long term it's gonna take some stuff out at first, and then it's not gonna be like that active kind of carbon thing.
It is. It's more of a balancer. So like even what we found with customers, what it does is it almost is like, with the nitrogen cycle, it allows the bacteria, if you have anything, instead of getting a spike that kills your whole system, it's more like a speed bump, because the bacteria are able to absorb and expand itself to be able to control those things. So, I mean, we've had customers come into stores and say, I'm losing my favorite cichlid, what can I do? And have added Aquachar to their system, and it was able to balance it out enough to where their fish lived. And they praised it. They actually came back the next day and bought 3 more for people in different states because they were so impressed.
Yeah, so you guys have any plans on pre-packaging it? I mean, I know that you guys have been working on your packaging and slowly evolving.
Yeah, we have some things in the works as far as distribution and packaging. You'll probably see it come out, within the year, before the end of the year. Right now, we're excited that people are trying our product and seeing the differences, even without the fancy packaging. They see what the product does and see what makes a difference.
So I have been bad and not watching the chat, not being to really, I'm geeking out here with the microscope, but there is a few questions in here. Yeah. The Cove had a few questions, but she was asking if it can be used in a hang on the back filter, but that's how I'm using it now. Yes. I mean, what are the main ways that you see people using it right now for you? Like,
honestly, we tell people as long as it has contact with the water, you're going to see a noticeable difference. So we have people in canister filters, hang on back filters. People float it in bags in their sump. They will put it they'll put it in their filter socks as it's coming in. They'll put it in, saltwater people put it in reactors, and everybody said, had the same basic results. There's not necessarily one better than the other.
Right.
I think most people right now are floating it in the sump because it kind of gives it a little bit more lifespan. As it collects the organics, it sinks down, so it gives you an extra month or so of added lifespan.
Why doesn't it bring you up sometimes? It's so frustrating. It's like you're not there now. Oh boy. So I'm just gonna go back to the microscope for a minute.
That works.
Yay. All right. They'll figure it out. It'll probably work in a minute. It worked a minute ago. So what was it? Priscilla had a question too. She was asking about the silicon carbides that are byproduct of carbon, and she wanted to know if that's due to the temperature.
Yeah, and it's probably due to the temperature, and it's probably in a minute level, but I think a combination of the two, the silicates and the carbon, actually work well together, especially from an absorption standpoint.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead here in a second, and I'm gonna grab something out of this aquarium. Richard Ricardo was asking about pH. Now you guys do, I met you guys at the Aquatic Experience, and you guys are doing a lot of different stuff. First off, you guys are doing a lot of different stuff, and you were like covered. You look like a coal miner's son, covered in charcoal that weekend. But you guys are doing some tests, pH tests. So how did that go? I mean, I know people can go and see the demonstration live on, I think even YouTube and on your website. But what were you guys doing there?
So basically, right now, the formula that we have right now, it stabilizes pH in fresh water between like 7.5 and 7. In salt water, between like 8.4. On the overall system, there's a bunch of factors. But what it does on the saltwater side, it actually helps prevent some of the pH drop at night. So instead of having a huge swing in the pH, due to the CO2 buildup when lights go off, that's the reason people run Chato in their sumps a lot of the times. We actually help prevent that big dip in CO2.
Nice.
Which a lot of people see a lot of better polyp extensions and stuff like that. I'm running it on a Planet tank right now, and it's got a subsystem and it has CO2 running in it. So
the Cove was asking another question here about it. Where was it here? I think it was something about stripping the tannins, I believe. And I was asking you that earlier as well because me with my blackwater aquariums, I'm not looking to totally pull everything out of it. I feel like at first it's going to take something out of it, right? I mean,
it'll take a little bit out of it at first, and you can overdose if you really want to try to like combat the tannins with carbon. But honestly, the tannin exchange when you add driftwood to a tank, there's not very much that can absorb it that quickly. Me personally, I think that people that have used it with tannin tanks, usually they keep their tannins the same, but they actually notice there's less free floating organics. So it's almost like a more clear tannic water, if that makes sense.
Sweet. Yeah, Priscilla MK Arts, which you might have met her at Aquashella. She'll be at Aquashella in Chicago and probably the Aquatic Experience. We're all going to be up there. We're all going to see each other up there. So anybody who's going to be at Aquashella, definitely come and check out his booth. But Priscilla did put out the link. Appreciate that, Priscilla. She put out a link for aquachar.com up in the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and grab something out of this filter real quick. But while I'm doing that, I wonder if you could answer a couple questions here. Priscilla was asking, they're kind of related questions, I guess. Priscilla wanted to know if it's available for retail, and then Jason from Fish Tropics was wondering if it's going to be available in Canada. And I'm going to let you talk about that while I go grab a live piece of charcoal.
Absolutely, I got it. So for the first one, I'll take the Canada one first. We're working on it. We're working on international stuff. Right now, international orders are usually shipped if they're buying it in bulk. As far as the systems, I'm sorry, I forgot the first question, so I'll wait till he gets back. But this is the part that I'm excited about because this will show what the active Aquachar is doing in your system.
I can't hear you, so.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm doctoring up charcoal.
But most of all, what Aquachar does is it maintains a stability in your tank. So we actually recommend to leave the old Aquachar inside your system and kind of replace it so you're not taking away any of your bacteria buildup or anything like that. Add new Aquachar to the old, and then once you're adding it again, you can actually, we recommend recycling it, especially if you're using it. You rinse it off and recycle it into your garden, because what that does is it kind of helps your plants absorb the nutrients, and it's already preloaded with natural fish organics for your plants to grow.
Sweet. So here we go. I'm gonna.
What was the first question? I forgot it right as soon as you walked away.
Oh, just whether or not you yeah, if it's gonna be available for retail or if it is available anywhere besides aquachar.com.
It's going to be available for retail. We're working on some distribution deals right now. But if you want to talk about it right now, just find me on Facebook or email me at sales@aquachar, and I'll give you pricing and we can talk about it.
Sweet. So, I'm crossing my fingers for live stuff here, and I'm trying not. I mean, I know that I'm gonna find some stuff. There's a lot of mulm here, and to be honest, this is not all mulm. A lot of people would look at this and think this is all like dead matter. The light is a little bright on that end. What I really need to do, let's go play. I'm gonna open up the software and work on my exposure, and this is really cool software that comes with this microscope.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I can kind of adjust that a little bit so that we can see it. But all that stuff right there, there's a lot of little microorganisms living in that, and they're eating, so there's a combination of the mulm, and then there's small things like little paramecium and stentors. I see a lot of them in my aquariums. For me personally, I like to go through all my aquariums, and I have my own personal analysis. I don't necessarily write everything down, but I can take video of it from here. But I keep track of what's going on in all my tanks, and honestly, it's interesting depending on what substrate I'm working with, or whatever it is. The biology is different. There's kind of a little bit different counts of different organisms. So let me see. I want to find something more exciting than that. I want to see some bigger organisms. I got 2 specimens on this slide. I'll go over here to the other piece and see what we find over here. I'm going to go a little closer, but there's definitely stuff right there. All right. Trying to be careful with the lighting, and the lighting is tough because I almost feel like I need to have the let me see if my phone light will help. No, it's pointless. 1 second. All right. I need to find something better here. I don't like, well, last night I found all kinds of cool stuff. I got some other pieces.
Well, I'm sure it's there. We'll find something.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. Most of the stuff is alive here, honestly. Like I said, there's going to be a mixture of a little bit of mulm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I was explaining to you, you can actually kind of see it on this Aquachar is the Aquachar is negatively charged, and most of those organics are positively charged. So that's basically the stuff that's been sucked in from the Aquachar, and the mulm is basically being bacteria breaking it down, which is kind of cool. It's cool to see this in person because you can actually see all the stuff that's being absorbed. Oh, there's something pretty cool up there.
Yeah, even that's little paramecium there in the.
Yeah.
I can actually let's see. Trying to get the lighting. That's the biggest thing. When you play around with this, you can get the lighting just right, and then you can see things a lot better. For some reason, it's still a little blurry. But it is kind of blurry. What I'm seeing here through the microscope still, it's just a little fuzzy around the edges, which could be just, who knows. But all these little round things are different little paramecium, little organisms in here. Yesterday I was seeing some stentors and some rotifers. Uh, these right here, these are, if I don't touch the table, which shakes everything. That's too bright. There we go. There we go. Anyways, a lot of this stuff is alive here. It's just not moving around very fast. But that's the thing too, is this is holding a different level of a different sized microorganism. I think that's something for people to keep in mind too. That for me, like when I look in an aquarium, I don't like to see too big of microorganisms. To me, the bigger the microorganisms that I see in my aquarium, that means the dirtier my aquarium is in a way. Like the more food I have. So I prefer to keep my aquariums kind of having the smaller stuff, and that's where something like this, works, or a biological media works, where you have all of these smaller organisms that are doing a much bigger job, so that you're not going to end up with bigger things like Hydra, or Planaria or something like that in your aquarium.
Well, and that's what's interesting is like with a combination of those microorganisms and the porosity, that it extends the lifespan, just because those guys are going through and even on the small pores are unclogging them and on a constant basis. So like I said, when you leave it in your system, it'll continue to work as that, as that bacteria digester. Oh, that's something cool going on.
Yeah, that's a Stentor. But he's playing around in there. I don't know why. I feel like one of my lenses has got to be dirty because it's not getting really, really clear. Maybe if I get rid of that completely. That's almost better. Anyways, yeah, this is, guys, there's a little Stentor in there, and he's kind of a filter feeder. And he anchors onto things. He's anchored by that little tail that he has there. And then he's just filter feeding stuff from the water column. So stuff like that, literally, you've got those guys just latched onto those pieces of charcoal. And I don't know why it won't focus very well.
Yeah, and see that's what makes our product cool, is just the abundance of life that starts to grow off of it. The bacteria is the bottom feeders. So like, we've seen people that have said, I'm seeing pods and everything. The little things that are food for your fish and corals are all of a sudden growing through the Aquachar and creating a more healthy system. Wherein, in the replaceable media world, you don't get those types of reactions from a filter media.
Right. Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I plan on using it. I don't do a lot of hang on the back filters, but I have it in all. I think I have three tanks that have hang on the backs, and it's just because those tanks happen to get a lot of either I'm trying to polish the crap out.
One of your tannin tanks. I'm curious to see how it works in a tannin tank.
Actually, I do have it in this. Behind my back here is a 55-gallon Blackwater Biotope tank. The tannins are a little low right now because I've been medicating it and I haven't dumped a bunch of botanicals, but that tank is usually crazy filled with dried botanicals and stuff, and it's a really strong tannins. But yeah, once I put so much in my tanks, no filter's gonna touch my tannins. Like I create so many tannins that it's not gonna. The filter is gonna. It's not going to happen that way.
There's an in-between phase, which is interesting with Aquachars, because there's kind of an in-between phase where you have the free-floating stuff, like between just being releasing the tannin organics and just being, and then there's the ones that are free-floating right before it turns into ammonia. It goes into the nitrogen cycle. That's what Aquachar is sucking in and being broken down on the filter instead of in your water column.
Right.
Even with a tannin heavy tank, I think you'll see a difference. It's a lot of customers say it's like they turn their water quality to HD.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my tank back here, it'll be nice and tannin colored, but it's still crystal clear. you know?
Exactly. And that's the difference and we were talking about it earlier. I appreciate the tan and look in a tank. I think it looks good. And I think with Aquachar even, I think it makes it look clear tan tanks, not like a dirty, you haven't cleaned the tank and that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely, if my tanks, I don't care what tannins are, if it's cloudy, that's something
Exactly.
else going on anyways. Where is everybody? Where is everybody? I'm over here hunting for organisms. But I know better because I do this stuff all the time. All this stuff here, this is it's not just mulm there. In pretty much any mulm that you're going to pull out of your substrate, hopefully, there's a bunch of little guys, little round guys like you see up here in the top. And they should be kind of green with a bunch of little green stuff in their tummy, because that's pretty much what they're running around doing, is eating all the single cell algae and stuff like that, which are, they get sucked up by the filter and they're eating them in the filter. So it's funny because I have found algae that's still green. It was obviously came from the aquarium. It had some photosynthesis somewhere, and now it's gotten trapped, and then these guys munch it up in the filter.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that's it kind of explains why one of the reviews we get a lot from people is I'm not having to clean the glass as much.
Right. And you can see the structure too here, and from another angle too, of just how, not just from a cross section, but how this carbon is holding, like it holds its structure. It's just, you can kind of see it. I don't know. It's better for me when I look in the microscope. I could see all the little fibers of the wood there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool with what we created.
So let me get back here. Let me find you. Let's see if they'll let you come through again. Why is it doing that? That's so odd. So odd. Let me see. Let me try one thing real quick, and then we're gonna have to say goodbye to all the people. So odd. Why it doesn't want to, there we go. Does everybody see him now?
Looks like it.
Did it pop through and now they can see you? I think so. It looks like it on my side. Like, you've got to be able to see you now. They should be. Anybody in the chat? I'm like waiting 30 seconds for someone to reply and say that they can see you, because there's so many moderators in here today. Somebody would say, can you guys see Brian?
I'm not seeing myself yet.
Dan Slee, Rack, River Life. Oh. It should. Anyways, we see Brian. Oh, there we go. And then I moved it so you probably don't see him again. Let me get rid of the editor. Yeah, okay, they could see you. All right.
Okay.
So we got to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm 3 minutes over. I was a little late, so I don't feel bad. I keep it a nice hour. But this is really awesome to check out this stuff under the microscope. Really, it's my kind of fun. Honestly, sit here with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and just geek out on all the microscopic life that goes on in my aquariums. And that's one. That's
this is something I've been looking forward to. Just it's a fun product, and I think we kind of showed what makes us different. So yeah, like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time and looking at it, because it's fun. It's
it's completely different product than your traditional active carbon, and I think that's what people need to keep in mind if they want to try it out, test it out, see how it works for them. Yeah, I totally see it as a long-term biological filtration media rather than a short-term kind of just water polisher.
Yeah. Because carbon's not going to dissolve into your system. It's not going to be released, and it's not going to come and to show up one day and the bag's empty. Carbon. One of the carbon bonds, probably one of the strongest bonds out there. So it holds itself together.
Yeah, it's like right there with a fossil.
Yes.
Well, I do want to thank everyone for hanging out. I didn't have a huge turnout today, but that's what I get when I geek out. Sometimes some people are just not ready for the microscope. It's okay.
Yeah. they'll be seeing it. They'll be seeing it after we're done.
Right. So I look forward to seeing you at Aquachar in Chicago. A lot of people actually
Excited.
here in the stream, in the chat right now, will probably be there. Daryl Deemer, Rack from River Life should be there. Jess Shimp Granny will be there. Tiffany White might be there. Science Gal Aquatics, I think she might be there as well. I know Priscilla, MK Arts, she will definitely be there. Amber from Big City Betas, she will definitely be there as well. There's there's a huge community, and YouTube has been an awesome platform for all of us. So I definitely yeah, it's really cool. So because it's nice to actually get to see everybody in person. It's not just some cyber. Yeah.
Aquashell is a really, really fun show, and I think the combination of the influencers with the booths is kind of it makes for a whole different experience. So I'm really excited for Chicago, and if anyone out there needs to talk or wants to have apply Aquachar to their own special view, give me a shout, and we can talk.
Yeah, definitely. I got the we didn't get the chance to see the picture, but I did have the floor plan, which you have on your Facebook page. I posted it yesterday. I stole it from you, and I posted it on my Facebook page yesterday. But there, the official floor plan for Aquachar 2019 Chicago is out, and it's really cool that the fish tube. This is the limited edition yellow fish tube shirt. Only special people have. No, I'm joking.
Nice.
So we're gonna have our booth. We have a huge spot. It's like 4 booths. It's a 4 booths, and there's gonna be Raw for Flip Aquatics and Aquarium Co-op. We're all gonna have like one island on the north side, I guess, of the
Nice.
of the convention there. So it's gonna be fun. I definitely look forward to it. I really like these events because I live on an island in the Caribbean. I don't get to just like geek out with anybody locally. So my community here on YouTube has been kind of one of the reasons why I started my channel. It's been my community. It's kind of like my little fish club. I can hang out once a week and geek out with everybody else. So once again, I appreciate.
It's always fun coming together.
Yeah, I appreciate you hanging out and sharing your product with us. Once again, I'm not endorsed by you or anything like that. We're just having some fun. I really think it's an awesome product, and I definitely think people should test it out, try it out for themselves, and see how it works for you, right?
Yeah.
So I should go ahead and get out of here. But I hope you guys all have a super duper awesome Sunday. Enjoy it. Get outside. Hang out with your family. Don't just sit on your phone all day long or your whatnot. But thank you guys all once again. Thank you to all of my supporters, all of my moderators, all the hard work you guys do, throwing out the links and just supporting me in all the different ways you guys do. Thank you guys so much. So you guys have a good Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week. And remember, guys, keep your tanks clean, your fish fed, and have fun.